everyone. So today I wanted to do a quick video. Hopefully I can finish it all in one video. If I can't, then I guess I'll be wearing something else in the second half. So I really want to do a video on kind of my pregnancy journey, how it went from start to finish. Before I get into the video, I do want to say that it did take me a really long time to get pregnant, years actually. I did make a video on how I got pregnant. I will leave that link down below if you guys want to see that video. But yeah, it did take me years to get pregnant, and before getting pregnant, I feel like very sad all the time from trying. It was like every time I would try, or me and my husband would try to have a baby, it wouldn't really work out, and it would be like I'm peeing on pregnancy tests because I feel like I'm pregnant but I'm not. It was a very sad thing to go through, especially being young. Everyone would always ask me, oh, you're married, do you have kids? When are you guys gonna start trying to have kids? When are you guys gonna have kids? Da 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 da. Which is, it was sad. But whatever, it was hard for me to get pregnant. And I do want to say this, that my pregnancy was horrible. I hated it. I can't picture myself, as of right now, having any more kids. I was very, very depressed during my pregnancy. It wasn't a good pregnancy, as you're about to find out. But yeah, it was not like how I expected at all. I thought it would be smooth sailing. I mean, like, I've seen so many people pregnant in my life, and I'd never seen anyone deal with so many issues that I dealt with when I was pregnant. But let's just jump right into this story. So, if I'm looking down, it's because while I was pregnant, I wrote every single thing down and dates and stuff so I wouldn't forget. So yeah. Also, another disclaimer. This is gonna be very graphically described, video detailed. So yeah. On January 26th, 2019, I woke up and I had been using ovulation strips to track my ovulation. So I woke up on January 26th, went pee, and I had peed on ovulation stick. So prior to that, I used this app. I forgot what the app was called, but I'll write it down below. I used this app to track my ovulation. So the app told me I was ovulating actually a whole week before this. They said it was my fertile week. So that's when I started tracking, and I actually wasn't ovulating that week that it told me I was. So on January 26th, I woke up and I had extremely watery discharge. So I just figured, okay, I'm not ovulating, but I'm gonna test anyways. So I peed on the ovulation stick, and sure enough, I was ovulating. So I texted my husband, hey, I'm ovulating. And yeah, we got busy, so on and so forth. So after I did the deed with my husband, I laid there with my legs up for about 20 minutes, and then I went pee after. So when I went pee, I don't know why, I peed on another stick and it said I was not ovulating. So I was kind of discouraged. I thought the first stick was a fluke or something. I had an allergic reaction to the pre-seed that we used to get pregnant. So 6 days had passed and we did not have any intercourse because it felt like fire down there. Even though I thought it did not work, I was still following all the steps, all the same steps that I was following before, taking my temperature every day to kind of gauge what my temperature was, because they say when you're pregnant your temperature goes up and it stays up. Normally, I guess when you're about to get your period, your temperature will kind of rise a little bit, but then it will drop again. So I was taking my temperature every day. So my baseline temperature, my average temperature was around 36 degrees Celsius, 36.2 degrees Celsius. On January 31st, 2019, I was experiencing a lot of cramping and pelvic pain. It was like excruciating. It was weird. It was like a kind of like a period pain, but I had never felt pain this kind of way. Like, I can't really describe it, but it was weird. And then on February 2nd, my temperature was 37.3, which is high for my baseline temperature. So I was like, okay, my period's about to come because my temperature has gone up. Only difference is I had really bad headaches this time, and I was extremely tired. February 5th, 2019. I still had headaches, temperature was still high. New symptom, my boobs were killing me, like killing me. It was like sore, like I couldn't even touch them. Every time I would take my bra off, my like boobs would be like so tender to touch and like hurt. So that was another symptom I went through. Also by February 5th, I felt really dizzy. I was getting extremely bad hot flashes, which was not normal. So I kind of had a feeling that I was pregnant, but I also didn't know if I was pregnant. I thought maybe it could have been like in my head or something like that. So February 6th, I started getting an extremely sore throat. More hot flashes, headache, and another symptom that I started experiencing was really bad heartburn. So on February 7th, another new symptom popped up. Metallic taste in my mouth. It was like a weird, it was like I was eating metal and it would not go away. This nasty taste would not go away. And then I knew, like, no, I'm pregnant. I knew. On February 8th, I had cramping. I still thought I was pregnant. February 6th, I peed on a pregnancy test. It came back negative. I was like still convinced. So I peed on another one later on in the day and it had like a really, really faint line. I sent a photo to my sisters and they were like, there's nothing there. You're not pregnant. But I knew I was. Like, I knew it. My body was different. I knew I was pregnant. So February 8th rolled around. That is when I got my big fat positive. So that is the day that I found out I was pregnant, February 8th, 2019. When I found out I was pregnant, it was like I knew I was pregnant, but when I actually seen like the strong lines, I was bawling my eyes out. Like, my friend was looking at me. She had no idea why I was crying. And then she looked at the pregnancy test and she seen I was pregnant. It was like so surreal. I was shaking. I was so happy. February 15th was my first doctor's appointment. He took my blood and I was so excited. I was like, when did I get my first ultrasound? My doctor is like very rude. Let me just say, he was like, we're not gonna worry about that. We're gonna take your blood first to make sure you're pregnant. And we don't even know if this pregnancy is gonna stick. Like, he's such a negative person. I actually went home and I cried. I was like, why would he say that? Am I gonna have a miscarriage? He took my blood on February 15th. Then February 17th, I went back to take my blood again to make sure that the beta number had gone up. On February 19th, I had gotten injured at work. I hurt my back, so I actually had to go on a leave. My leave was only supposed to be a week, I believe. I can't remember exactly how long my leave was supposed to be, if it was supposed to be a week or 2 weeks. But yeah, so February 19th is when I injured my back. February 20th, I got my results back for my beta test. So the first beta test was 560. The second beta test was supposed to double. It didn't. It more than doubled. It was 2,034. Whatever. So my doctor was like, yeah, strong pregnancy, everything's going good, we'll book your ultrasound. He booked my ultrasound for I think 12 weeks. At the time I was 5 weeks pregnant, I believe. No, 5 or 6 weeks pregnant, and he booked it for 12 weeks forward. And he also put in a request for OB. The OB that I picked works at the hospital that I work at. My coworker, not really. Like, we don't work together, we work on the same floor, not on the same unit. That's why I picked him. February 23rd. Okay, so February 23rd rolled around. Oh, I should say, so February 20th, when I went to that doctor's appointment, he had asked me if I was feeling okay, and I was like, yeah. And he was like, do you want me to prescribe you diclectin for nausea? I was like, I don't have any nausea, this pregnancy is smooth, everything's going great. Oh, I was wrong. February 23rd, I hit 26. February 23rd, I hit 6 weeks pregnant. Well, no, I was 6 weeks and like 2 days or something like that. And that was the very first day I vomited. And it wasn't just in the morning. It was in the morning, in the afternoon, in the evening, and through the night. February 26th rolled around. I went back to work for 1 day. Now, from February 23rd till February 26th, I ate nothing. I was vomiting the whole day, the whole night, ate nothing, couldn't drink anything. So February 26th rolls around. I do 12 hours on my feet. Rolled up to work, and I was only there for about an hour and a half, and I fainted. Yeah, so my coworker brought me down to Emerge, and I told no I was pregnant, by the way. So my coworker brought me down to Emerge, and they were like, we're gonna check your beta number to make sure everything is okay. We're gonna check on the baby, make sure baby's okay. I'm like, okay. Because obviously I told them I was pregnant, I just didn't tell my coworkers I was pregnant. So they did an ultrasound. I didn't get to see the baby. They printed out all the results and gave them to me in a sheet of paper. So my child's heartbeat was 124 beats per minute. Baby was fine, heartbeat was strong. They sent me home and told me to stay home. She had given me Gravel through the IV and it put me to sleep. So my husband picked me up from the hospital. I stayed home and booked a doctor's appointment for the 30th so I could get the diclectin, because I thought like maybe that would work. So I'm not the 30th, March 1st. I had booked for March 1st to get diclectin. I rolled up to my doctor's appointment. He gave me diclectin. It did not work at all. As soon as I drank it or swallowed the pill, instantly vomited it up. So I had to go back to the doctor's, and he gave me Gravel to take. As a suppository. Yeah, it didn't work. I took the Gravel as a suppository, sorry if this is TMI, and it instantly gave me the runs. Like, it would not stay in. Like, I tried it like 3 times. Normal people would probably try it once and be like, fuck this. I tried it 3 times. Yeah, it didn't work. So March 10th, I ended up in the hospital because I lost quite a bit of weight. I was shaking all the time, passing out, couldn't stand. So I was back in the hospital on March 10th. And then they admitted me to, so when I went to the hospital, they had given me an IV, and inside the IV was, what was it? Zofran. So they gave me Zofran and admitted me to the high risk unit. So I'm afraid of hospitals. Yeah, I work in one, but I mean, like, I'm afraid of sleeping in hospitals. They creep me out. So I was like, can I take my IV home and just like change the bag there? The OB at that hospital was not my OB, but he was my OB for the time being because my OB had a waiting list. So I had to wait a couple weeks before I actually got to meet mine. So he said, yeah, sure, you can take the IV home. We'll send CCAC into your house to change the IV bag every single day and help you out with like showering and stuff like that. Because why take up a bed when you don't need to? So I was like, great. I went home with my IV. So I just want to say I did have CCAC come into my home to help me out. I didn't find it helpful at all. The woman did not come every single day. I ended up having to change the bag by myself, which would be fine if the site was in a different spot. It was extremely hard to change the bag in the spot that it was in. Because the spot was on my hand, it was extremely hard for me to undo one IV to hook up another one. Thankfully, I live with my husband, and sometimes my friend would come over and help me. So this is the box they deliver. This is the Sharps container. This has like all the needles and like extra IVs and sterile flush and all that good stuff. And then over here, this is the IV bag and the pump. It's charging right now. The medication is put inside of the IV bag, which is really good. Then it just runs. I have an IV running 10 hours for the day, and the rest I get to relax, I guess, without an IV. This hand looks so disgusting. Oh my god. But the plus side, the new IV is so tiny and more comfortable. It's so small and it's easier to hide. I couldn't hide the other one. Another thing I wanted to add quickly was that because I was extremely dehydrated in my pregnancy, every single time they went to take blood, my veins would blow. I had no good veins left. It was horrible. My bestie helping me hook up my IV. I started going through severe depression. I was in bed all day, every day. Okay. So finally I had hit 14 weeks pregnant and I had gone for my third ultrasound. The first two ultrasounds were done in the hospital. So I'd gone for my third ultrasound. I was not allowed to see the baby. They didn't show me the baby. But my husband was in the room and he kind of snuck a picture of it. Like with his phone, he zoomed in and took a picture for me. So I got to see the baby. Fast forward to 17 weeks. At 17 weeks, I had bleeding. Now, this scared the shit out of me because I was in second trimester and yeah, it was like scary. Like, it wasn't spotting, it was full on bleeding. Okay, sorry guys, this is not the best camera. My other camera died, so I have to make do. So yeah, I was bleeding for 5 days and I went to the hospital. They said nothing was wrong. They're not sure why I'm bleeding. Baby's heartbeat is strong. Everything's looking good. So they said everything was okay. And yeah. May 24th, I went to go find out baby's gender. Went for my ultrasound. Yeah, I went to go find out baby's gender. Now, my child would not stay still. Not open his or her legs. But yeah, so they couldn't measure my child's head. So I had to go back a week later to find out the gender. When we did go to find out the gender, we asked the woman to put it in an envelope because I did have a gender reveal party to find out my baby's gender. And I found out I was having a the heartbeat of my daughter was 152. So I tried to like guess what the gender would be from the heartbeat and all that, and I thought I was having a boy. I was so excited. Come to find out I was having a girl. June 1st, I was 20 weeks pregnant, and that is the first time I felt my daughter kicking. It was like so surreal. I actually cried. It was like the best feeling ever to feel your baby kick. Nothing can describe how you feel in that moment. So leading up to that, like I said, I was very depressed. I was feeling like I just want to die. Why did I want to do this? Like, just a whole bunch of horrible thoughts in my head. But yeah, feeling her kick was a good thing. So on June 25th, I was 25 weeks pregnant and I went for my sugar test. I also was back at work at this time. I did my sugar test on a day I was working. I went, because like I said, I work in the hospital that my OB is in, so I went downstairs, did the sugar test, went back up, finished my shift. Cleo! Mars! Sorry, she's jumping. So I got the results back. My OB said everything is good. My pregnancy was going good. You know, smooth sailing, and then boom, I hit 30 weeks pregnant. And hell broke loose again. Mind you, I was still very sick. I just didn't have the IV anymore. I was now finally taking orally diclofenac. I was still vomiting quite a bit, but I was able to actually eat stuff now. Only junk, only greasy food, which is very bad, but whatever. I could hold it down, so I was eating it. So 30 weeks hit August 6th, and my pain started coming back from my accident at work, my sciatica pain. Let me tell you, working on your feet at 30 weeks pregnant, you know, it's actually a good thing because you're getting in your exercise, you know, staying active. For me, it was horrible. I would get pain when I would walk too much. I would get pain when I would sit down too much. It was overall bad for me. One day when I was at work, I started feeling extreme pain in my upper right side, like to the point where I was bawling my eyes out. So I walked over to the pregnancy ward, and they asked me all my symptoms and stuff, and they told me they think I have preeclampsia. So they tested me for that and did not have it. Thank God I did not have it. I had symptoms of it, but I did not have preeclampsia, which is good. 31 weeks pregnant. At 31 weeks pregnant, 31 and a half weeks pregnant, I was working and walked my ass back over to the pregnancy ward because I was in a lot of pain. And I found out that I had a really, really short cervix and SPD. I just wanted to add that on top of the hyperemesis and SPD and sciatica, I also had extremely swollen feet and legs all the time. I was pregnant in summertime. That could have been part of the reason. But yeah, I was extremely swollen and uncomfortable all the time. And on August 16th, I had an OB appointment. We discussed everything that has been going on, you know, results from when I went to the pregnancy ward. My OB told me I need to go off of work. He said, you know, we don't want you to have this baby early. Your cervix is really short. You're experiencing sciatica pain. You're experiencing SPD. You work 12-hour shifts and you're on your feet the whole time. Like, you know, you need to go off. So I had set up a meeting with my manager, and she was really sweet. Like, I told her at the beginning, once I did tell her that I was pregnant, I did tell her that I was going to go off when I was 39 weeks or 40 weeks. I was going to try and work to the very end. She was like, if you need to go off, you need to go off. Your health comes first. And I told her, you know, I feel really bad because you have to find someone to replace me. You have to do interviews and then you have to train. So I'm like, you know what, I'm going to give you 3 weeks notice. And because I was nice enough to give 3 weeks notice, she kind of like modified me for those 3 weeks. So I was sitting down most of the time. So September 9th was my last day of work. They threw a party for me on September 6th. But yeah, I then went home. I spent my time at home relaxing and, you know, in pain. Like, I was on the couch all the time, eating stuff in my face. I gained so much weight. Went for little walks with my husband, but not much. And then September 30th hit, my OB appointment. I went into my OB appointment. He, you know, checked everything out. And I was like, okay, I'll see you next week. He was like, probably not. And I'm like, what do you mean? And he's like, yeah, well, we might see you next week. I don't think this baby's gonna stay in there until next week. And sure enough, I went into labor October 3rd and my daughter was born. I do want to do a labor and delivery story, so stay tuned for that. Sorry, my baby's playing right there. So I do want to do a labor and delivery video, so stay tuned for that. I'm going to hopefully do it within the next 2 weeks or so. I really hope you enjoyed this video. Give it a thumbs up. Subscribe to my channel. Share if you want to. Leave a comment down below of how your pregnancy went. If it was good, if it was bad. You know. And yeah, I'll see you in my next video. Hopefully the bopping back there isn't too distracting. Okay. Bye.